Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to Korean Atlanta Mentorship. And in this video, we're going to cover a strategy called lease options. So, this strategy may be a potential cash cow for you if you are a landlord or maybe plan to be a landlord in the future. But all it really does is consist of two things. So, first one is just leasing, renting. We all know what that is. You just pay a monthly fee to rent someone's place if you're the tenant. Now you combine it with something called an option. So what happens is that the tenant pays a fee for the right to buy the house at a later time at a fixed price. So I'll just give a quick example of this. So let's say you got a tenant, can't buy right now, but they have the money for some reason. In fact, there are tenants with a lot of money, but maybe they have bad credit. They'll pay you, the landlord, $6,300 to buy a house in 2 years at 210,000, right? So maybe they're gonna take the time to fix up their credit within the 2 years, get that loan, and they'll buy that house for $210,000, right? There's plenty of reasons why people are unable to buy houses, even if they have income. Um, One reason is they might be self-employed lawyers. So maybe an independent, self-employed lawyer who makes money, but for whatever reason, banks don't tend to give loans to self-employed people, from my understanding. 1099, I guess. All right. So if we scroll down, let's think about this. Why is this beneficial to the landlord? If you're the landlord, what's the benefit to you? So the first one is that the option fees can be non-refundable. So if the tenant, for whatever reason, doesn't decide to buy, you just kept this nice little chunk change. And so instead of just having a regular rental where you get like 1,000 or 2,000 a month, you got a nice little chunk change in addition to that, just because your tenant did not decide to buy your house, right? And whether it's right or wrong, according to statistics, I think 90% of lease optioners do not actually buy the house. So if you want to offer the opportunity to the tenant to buy the house, the stats are in your favor, right? So if these not option fees are non-refundable and they bail, and again, check your state law, right? So I'm not a lawyer, but you really should always check your state law or consult with an attorney, not giving you legal advice. But it could, because it can be non-refundable, and if they don't do what they're supposed to do and buy the house, you can make a good money. And here's the other thing too. Yeah, so this is what I mentioned. If the tenant doesn't buy the house, your ROI goes up, like way, 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 way up. In fact, it's actually in your best interest to not want the tenant to buy. You know what I mean? You get this nice chunk change, you get the rent, and if they leave, then you get another person who's going to give you the chunk change and then who gives you the rent, right? So this is a big benefit to the landlord. And the other thing too is let's say somebody actually does buy the house, right? Unlike a fix and flip, which is usually short term, and again, I'm not an accountant, talk to your tax advisor, licensed professional. My understanding is that if the house is sold within 12 months of ownership, so you buy the house and you sell it within under 12 months, that's a different set of taxes versus a long-term play. So I think after 12 months, so a lease is 12 months, you sell it after 12 months, then you get, I think, capital gain. Again, not an accountant. Go ahead and go to an actual tax advisor. I'm just telling you stuff that I heard somewhere, right? So you may enjoy those tax advantages if you buy the house. So it's kind of like a win-win for you. Get that nice profit and get some tax advantages because you didn't do a short-term fix and flip. Or, you just have a rental house and be a landlord and you get some nice chunk change, right? All right. So scroll down. So why is it beneficial to the tenant, right? So one of the reasons why it's beneficial to the tenant, or it could be beneficial, is that it's a fixed price and the property value may go up in a hot area. So we know in Georgia, there were areas that were like $210,000. And then, end of 2019, 2020, that area became a $300,000 or $400,000. So if you bought it the right to buy it, it's like, whoa, you have to be insane not to exercise your option if you got this kind of deal in that area, right? So scroll down. So I'm just going to tell you some true stories from other people. So I actually know two people, right? One person who did this, and I think I have the story right here. So let me just tell you a story from one of the people that I know who did this. So what happened is that he was looking for a rental property and he found a landlord in distress. And you'll notice that when you deal with in real estate investing, people who are more educated and more experienced are willing to do deals that traditional buyers and sellers are not willing to do. And so what he did is he's found a landlord. The landlord had tenant issues, right? And if you know, there are tons of landlords who have tenant issues. Go look up Google tired landlord. And so what he told the landlord is like, hey, I'll lease the property from you from $1,200, and I want the option to buy for like 210 in like 2 years. And this was in an area that wasn't that hot, like pre, lockdowns or whatever. So it wasn't that hot of an area. And so the landlord's like, sure. And he said, okay, I'll give you $1 for the right to buy the property. And the landlord said, sure, right? And so what he did is he had the right to buy it, and then he found a tenant to sublease, and he would ask for option to buy the house at $10,000 at a price higher, a little bit higher than what he asked for. So I think the term for it, and I might be wrong about it, is called a sandwich lease. But if you do a lease option, you could actually get another lease option to from another tenant, and then you kind of make a spread, right? And so what happened is that the tenant failed to essentially got evicted, right? The tenant got evicted, so the tenant couldn't pay the rent, and then 3 years later, he sold the house and made $150,000 profit because the area had appreciated so much. But he didn't really need to do anything. You need to bring money to the table to do the deal, right? It's just a $1 option and $1,200 lease, and then if the tenant paid a higher lease, then you got like a $600 kind of spread, about $600, right? And so here got a big spread in the option too. So something to think about that you might be able to do if you use a lease option, even as a landlord, right? You're not even the tenant. Well, you're kind of technically a tenant in this case, but tenant to the first landlord. But you can do another lease option to your sublet lessee, right? Okay. Second one is I know a person who is an instructor for the education that we provide, who only rents to tenants who want to rent to eventually buy, right? So think about this. If you only look for tenants who want to rent and then eventually buy, when they give that option fee, they have something called skin in the game, right? And this is why like kind of landlords ask for deposits and stuff, because the more of your money that you put into something, the more skin you have in the game. And so the tenant horror stories are not really that common with this landlord, right? And there's a saying called if you pay attention. And one of the reasons why maybe a lot of tenants don't take care of the property is because it's not their property. But when they give an option fee, it's the potential to be their property, and thus they're going to take better care of it. So that's why I talked about it's in a way a tenant management strategy. Again, one of our instructors for the education that we provide does this pretty much exclusively. So those are true stories from other people, and that's why I say like, hey, this could be a cash cow, and this is probably something I may do in the future. I'm just a straight landlord right now, but it's something worth learning. All right, so this is Crane Atlanta Mentorship. If you have any questions, comments, leave them below. Oh, as always, I'm always going to make a plug for a group. If you click the Google form link below, you can fill out your information and then send us an inquiry saying, "Hey, I'm interested in joining the group." Another way you can join is by sending us an email in the you can find it in the about section of the YouTube channel. So just go ahead and send us an email there, and then we'll give you a call. We could go on a Zoom call and figure out if you're a good fit for the group. All right, have a great day, everybody, and we will speak next time.